this is Remanian playing the Planet Crafter, and you're welcome to come along for the ride. So we just landed on this barren planet that we are supposed to terraform, and we got a message here telling us what is required to start the terraformation process. So we are supposed to generate oxygen, heat, and pressure. And the way we're going to do that is by building machines and some more machines, and after that we're going to build some more machines. But this being a survival game, our first and foremost objective, as you will probably not have guessed, is to stay alive. And for that, the lower left corner of our screen is really important because it's telling us our health, the heart sign, or in other words, your food level. The water drop is kind of self-explanatory, that's our water level, and the O2 sign is kind of self-explanatory as well, it's our oxygen level. And as you can see, the moment we leave our little escape pod, it starts dropping really rapidly, especially in the beginning. This is a bit of an issue, so in the beginning we have to stay close enough to the escape pod so we can get back in there and breathe again. And that also makes these first steps on the top left really important. It is telling us to craft an oxygen tank, which will allow us to stay out for a little bit longer. And it also tells us to craft a backpack, which we definitely want to have because our starting inventory is really tiny, as it is in so many survival games. It actually feels a little as if I could carry more items in my jeans pockets than in this inventory. So we definitely want to start with these first steps proposed by the game, which is crafting a backpack. So we need iron and an oxygen tank, some more iron, cobalt, and magnesium. So I'm going to get just that right now. So we have iron. Fortunately, in this game, all the resources have a very distinct look, so we can quickly learn how they look like and then pick up exactly what we need. And as you may have guessed by now, this is my second playthrough, so I will be able to give you the occasional tip and hint along the way. And obviously the reason for me playing it again is that I just enjoy the game and I want some more of that. But the other reason is that I have a friend who for some unfathomable reason enjoys watching me playing games. So that's for this friend who has a not so great connection, and I would like to be able to show him that not every game looks like Minecraft. So here we can craft our backpack and oxygen tank, and now we also need to equip that. That gives us 4 more slots. Nice, we can definitely use that. And we are also supposed to create a microchip construction and deconstruction, which will allow us to, well, construct and deconstruct things. So we need silicon and magnesium. I'm just going to pick up as much as I can carry because obviously we're going to need all of it and much, much more. And especially iron, because in the beginning almost every crafting recipe needs iron. Can pick up one more. There we go. By the way, looking at the oxygen level, you can see how rapidly it drops, and there's the oxygen level low warning. So that comes really late, oxygen critical right now. So if you wait for that warning, especially in the beginning, and you're too far away from your escape pod, you're probably not going to make it, because that comes way too late for you to just react to it. You always have to watch your oxygen levels. Oh, I need one more magnesium. Okay, that was weird. Couldn't open that. And now I also have to equip those microchips, of course, so we can use them. Oh, we also have this chest here with some emergency supplies to start with. So the space food is in here. And we can already craft water bottles. So if we pick up ice, we can turn the ice directly to water bottles. Alright, so we are supposed to craft a living compartment and a living compartment door. Even when I played this game the first time, my instinct was to go for some higher ground immediately and build my shelter, my first base, somewhere higher up. Turns out that was a good instinct. You will see later on why. And I'm sure if you have any survival instincts, you would have done the same. And you can also see that we don't have a compass yet. So it's advisable to find yourself some landmark that you can recognize from a distance and build your base there. So this is a good spot. It's high up and it has a landmark that we can find again. So living compartment goes right here. And we need a door to get in, and for that we need some silicone. And we're probably going to see what it looks like when we die in this game in a moment. Doesn't really do much. Oh, that was shaving it really close. Anyways, so different games obviously give you different penalties for dying. They are not very harsh in this game. You have different settings, you can change that, but I'm playing right now on the standard setting. And standard setting in this game means if you die, you just drop some of your inventory and you respawn in the last safe spot that you were in. So all you have to do to recover your things is to find the place where you died, find the crate that you dropped there, and pick up the stuff and carry on from there. So we get a low power warning, not surprising because we don't have any machines that generate power yet. So it's not low power, it's no power right now. So one thing I want to create in here is another crafting station like the one we have in the escape pod, so I don't have to run back to the escape pod all the time. And I can make oxygen capsules and water bottles right from here. And also if we get any upgrades, like this one, I can craft it right here. So I need some silicon and magnesium. Some more meteors incoming. Later on, they will be quite useful because they will give us some rare materials that we really want. But at this stage, and these little ones are mainly just annoying. There's also an achievement for being hit by one of those meteors. Just going to drop something here. Actually, I can drink some water. So these little meteors, they are just annoying mostly, but they will also refill the base materials that we have on the planet. So they will give us some more iron and magnesium and titanium and cobalt. Also, you have the option to craft yourself storage crates. Later on, you will be able to build better ones, obviously. But if you don't have the materials, or if you don't want to waste your materials on storage crates in the beginning, you can also just drop things and they are not going to despawn. They're just cluttering the space and getting your way, but they are not going to despawn. You can make a spoil heap and it will stay there forever. Right, so I wanted this exoskeleton. And that just means that we get more slots to place tools in. Also useful. And now we can start with the actual terraforming process. So we want a drill, wind turbine, and a heater. So if we look at the resources we need, we can't really create a heater yet because we don't have iridium yet. But what we can do is create wind turbines that will give us energy. And we need energy for, well, everything else that we craft here. And we can create drills, which will create pressure and start the terraforming process. So if you look at the top right of our screen, we have a terraformation index there, and at the moment it says 0 because we haven't created any machines to start terraforming yet. And we're going to change that very soon. Having played the game before means that I know a good place to get iridium. So I'm going towards that very place, picking up some resources on the way. And I'm also going to place another little living compartment right there, because that's a very efficient way to breathe. So the other way to not die while exploring and gathering resources would be to carry an oxygen capsule with you. But while you have so little inventory space, that's a waste of a perfectly good inventory space. So I just like to plop down little compartments like that all over the place, and then I can go in them to breathe wherever I am. If you don't want to lose these resources for these little cabins, you can just deconstruct it again. And the game is very generous here because you get all your resources that you used to create something back when you deconstruct it. Okay, what's going on there? That is weird. wind turbines are going to give us energy, so we want to have as many of them as possible. Eventually, we will have much more efficient machines, but at the moment, I'll just pop down as many of them as possible. Need some more resources, and then I can create some drills. So the wind turbines don't give us any bonus for the terraformation. That's just the energy that we need, so we can even use the other machines. Yes, there's a crate over there. We're going to get the stuff out of there soonish. And yes, there's also a crashed starship over there. And we're going to explore that later. The reason I'm not running directly into the spaceship and explore there is just by doing or starting the terraformation process, we get a lot of upgrades and a lot of creature comforts that will make exploring that much easier. So we will have a lot more oxygen available, we will be much faster. Eventually we get a jetpack that of course makes traveling a lot faster. So at this stage, as I did the first time around, exploration is rather tedious because you run out of oxygen all the time. You have a very tiny inventory, so you can't carry much back to your base. So while it's very tempting to run into the spaceship directly, it's not very efficient. As you can see, I have to return to the living compartment right away because no oxygen. The other option is to always carry oxygen capsules with you, but then of course that blocks valuable inventory space, so you can stay out longer, but you can't carry that much. And no, you can't have too many drills, too many of anything really. Oh, new blueprint. A new oxygen tank. Yes, we want to have that, but since we're here, we're going to pick up some iridium. And no, you can't have too much oxygen, too much pressure, or too much heat. All it does is advance the terraformation process. Heat on this planet, in this game, is not an issue, so you are not going to have any problems. You're not going to create a desert or anything. All it does is advancing the terraformation process, and that doesn't really stop anywhere, so you can, even when the game is officially finished, continue, and the terraformation will continue, and the heat and oxygen and pressure will keep going up, and nothing bad will happen. You are not going to blow up your planet. Well, this is cutting it really close again. Yes, oxygen level critical. So maybe now you're going to see what it looks like when you die in the game. Yes, you're going to see that right now. Let's say that was an intentional demonstration of what it looks like when you die. So you just find the place where you died, pick up the stuff in the crate, and pretend nothing happened. Actually, when my inventory is empty, I sometimes died on purpose because that's the quickest way to get back to base. So some silicon needed, and then I can create our first heaters. So we get a living compartment window that early in the game. That is nice, and eventually it will look really pretty. But at this stage, I'm not going to waste my very valuable resources on cosmetics. So prettifying of the base, I'll definitely do that, but somewhat later in the game. So now I can create a heater. Oh, and we got a new backpack. So even that early in the terraformation process, you can see we get really valuable upgrades just by starting the terraformation process. And that's the reason that I'm not wildly exploring already, because I want to have more oxygen and I want to have a bigger backpack before I run into all the interesting places. You also don't have to worry that you're ever going to run out of places to explore. So without spoiling anything, every time I thought that I had seen everything in the game, I found something new. So going back to banks, taking a breather, dropping down another heater. By the way, that heater is not necessary for you, so it's not there to keep you warm. It's not there to keep your base warm or your plants warm or anything. It just generally creates heat for the planet. So it just counts towards the terraformation process. It also doesn't matter where you place it. So I'm aware that little living compartment doesn't look very pretty at the moment, but nothing is going to stay where it is at the moment. We will get much more efficient upgrades later on, at which point these things will get deleted and, well, theoretically you could still use them for deco purposes, but later on you're not going to need these first few things that we have here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to collect lots and lots of resources so I can make this base a little bigger. Maybe I'll just start with a 3x3, but eventually it's going to get much bigger because we need a lot of storage space. We need a lot of... Oh, I have to drink quickly. A lot of storage space, and we need a lot of space to craft things, and, well, maybe you even want to put some decorative items in there eventually, but just for the storage purposes and crafting purposes, we will need a much bigger base. So I'll get back to you once I have a 3x3 and I can show you some more things. See you then.